Yeah, please clear that. Am I audible, right? I'm sharing the screen.
Yes, Satish.
Yeah, is this my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. Yeah, good evening, guys. Very good evening. Yeah, today, welcome to Blue Jet Technologies. And this is Satish. Okay. Yeah, currently I'm working in some multi-cloud with the DevOps practices to deploy the workloads. Okay. So directly coming to the point, first of all, in today's session, I will show you, I'm going to talk about what is, first of all, our title is, already the title Azure DevOps with Azure Cloud. Okay. Yeah, before going to this Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud, first you need to understand about what is DevOps. If you know about DevOps, then easily we can understand about Azure DevOps. Means, first of all, we are going to discuss about what is DevOps, what it mean actually. First, we need to understand if you learn DevOps or Azure DevOps, whatever it can be. What is your work? Means in which environment you are going to work. What is your work culture and where you are going to work, what type of work you are going to do. These type of things we are going to discuss in today's session. And also about Azure Cloud I'm talking in that. And also we are going to discuss about the cloud. What is cloud actually? Then after we can enter to our Azure Cloud. This is the agenda of today's session. Okay, in this session, finally you are going to get complete idea on the topic what we are going to discuss in our later sessions. Okay, means what is DevOps, what is the use in by using DevOps, in which environment you are going to work, what are the projects you are going to work, in which type of projects, everything. I'm going to give some clear idea about these things. This is the agenda for today's session. Okay. Yeah. First of all, mm, before going to this complete thing, what is DevOps? First of all, what it is actually, is it technology or not? That complete idea we are going to see. See, if you go with what is DevOps, I can say that the DevOps is a culture. First thing, first you need to understand DevOps.
Okay, bro. Bye. Okay, sir.
One second. Yeah. DevOps is a culture in the statement you are seeing in the screen. Like DevOps is a culture, first of all. It is not any technology. It is one culture you are going to implement. We are going to implement in where we can implement in the application development and release process. Here, as a DevOps guy, as a DevOps engineer, where you are going to work. You're going to work where means in the application development and release means you are not going to involve in the development, but you are going to involve in the release process of an application. That is known as DevOps is a culture we are going to implement. Means as a DevOps engineer, after learning all this, you are going to work in the application release process. Nothing but application development and release process. In the sense, to develop any application, there is one model known as SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. Okay, in which in this model you are going to implement DevOps culture for the application release process by using some automation tools known as, we can call it as DevOps tools. So some DevOps tools, I'll tell you what is DevOps later. Some DevOps tools you are going to use as a culture in the application development and release process, that is an SDLC model. This is your work first. Agenda means outline of your course or outline of your subject where you are going to work, means in the application development and release process. So here, what is the goal of DevOps engineer? We can say the goal of DevOps is to build and deploy the application fastly and securely. You're going to build and deploy the application fastly and securely. Deployment, nothing but I said right, release process. Release or deploy both are the same. So as a DevOps guy, where you are going to majorly involve means in the application development and release process. You're going to involve in the application development. So first of all, you need to understand what is an application, what kinds of applications we have, what are the different kinds of applications we have. If you understand about this, then easily you can enter to a subject. Okay, first you understood, right? Your work is nothing but application release process. In that area, you're going to work. But who are going to develop application? Some other developers will develop. We are not going to develop our application. Some developers will develop our application. That application we are going to release. Where to release everything. If you want to get idea, first you should understand about what kinds of applications we have. Different kinds of application in the market. As an end user, we are using, right? Those application you should understand first. Then we can understand this step, where to release our application. If you want to understand, first you should understand about what are different kinds of applications we had in the market, what developers are developing. That if you understand in which technologies those are developing, then you can understand what is release process. This complete idea you are going to get till end of this class. Okay, patiently listen this what I'm saying, because this is the outline we are going to discuss about complete subject outline. Now means if you learn in the first class only, you can understand. If you learn this, what is your work, what kind of workloads you are going to see in your real-time scenario, you are going to see. You can understand in my session. Okay, so so in this session, in this point, you understood, right? What is DevOps means? It is one culture, implement application develop release process. So in the release process, we are going to use some automation tools. Those are known as DevOps tools. Those DevOps tools we are going to learn in our sessions. Nothing but DevOps means I'm going to show you in Azure DevOps concept. What is Azure DevOps? We'll see next session. But first, before going to Azure DevOps, first we should understand what is DevOps. That I'm targeting in this session. Okay, yeah. So now, okay, in the application development release process, you're going to work fine. But what kinds of applications we have? You should understand what kinds of applications or softwares we had in the market. Like you're seeing in the screen, like different kinds of applications we had: desktop, web application, mobile application, major kind of application I'm showing here. Desktop, web, mobile. Desktop applications like example, 1 second guys, please wait. Please wait. Yeah. We have different kinds of applications like desktop, web, mobile applications. In which web application, You're seeing like Flipkart, Paytm, Amazon, like all the web-based applications comes under web applications. Like desktop application, now I'm using one desktop application like MS Office, Notepad, VLC, Media Player, everything. This all comes under desktop or standalone applications. Or mobile applications, in your smartphones, you're using some mobile application like WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, these are all things. So whatever it can be, different kinds of applications we should understand first. In which these applications are developed by some developers. We are not developed these. We are not here to develop these all things. But why we should know this means these applications only we are going to release. Is it right? Things what I said here. We are going to release some applications as a DevOps guy. So in this scenario, what kinds of applications we had here? These kinds of applications. Who will develop this? Some developer. These are all applications developed by some developers in different technologies. We are not going to develop like Java, .NET, Python, etc. So to develop these above applications, some steps will follow. That is SDLC steps, I said, software development lifecycle. This we'll talk later. But first we should understand what kinds of application we had, standalone, web, mobile, all these things. Okay. These applications majorly we are going to target on web application. We are going to target about web applications like Flipkart, Paytm, like this. But beside that, we have standalone and mobile applications. So these are all applications in our daily life as end user we are using, right? In these kinds of applications only we are going to work. First, this point we should understand. Where or what type of projects we had as a DevOps community. These are the projects. Application development and release. But development will be done by some developers. We are not going. But after development, some release process is there, right? That we are going to take. What is that? See. For example, these things, if you want to understand, I have to show you with some explanation. See, first of all, in detail, we should understand, guys. That's why I'm taking some process like this. Assume like this, we have some developers. I said, right? Where you are going to work means in the application release pro, but not in development. But first of all, the application should be there, right? Like what I showed, standalone, web, mobile. Who will develop these applications? Some developers will develop, like developer 1, developer 2, some developers will develop some code in the project. The developers will develop their code. This code developed by some developers. In the project, multiple developers will develop them. But from where, as a DevOps guy, you are involved into this application code? From where means after development by the developers, the code is ready, right? From here, we are going to take care the remaining process. From here, after development, this part we are not going to concentrate. This part will be done by developers. Till the code is ready. The code is ready now. This code we should release. Where to release, we are going to see now. Okay, this code we are going to release to be accessed by the end user. Finally, the application is going to be accessed by the end user, right? That step we are going to take. That is known as release process. Okay. See, wait. 1 second. So before going to this, means first the code is ready, we are going to release. Okay, before going to that, first I said, right, here, different kinds of applications we had. Wait. So first of all, if there is desktop, we have three kinds of applications. In these three kinds of applications, we had desktop, web, mobile. In which, what is desktop? Desktop application means if you want to understand about where to release, you need to understand this process first. So desktop means you should deploy that application into every desktop. Means it is a desktop application. One desktop application need to be used. So every user should be installed into their desktop. Like for example, we have 3 desktop. I had one VLC media player to be installed. So this VLC media player, every user should install. Every user should install. Then only every user can access this application. This is about desktop. But if you go with web application, where web application is installed, not into every desktop machine. A web application is installed into one server. What is that? Server. Here we had one server. In the server, a website, nothing but web application. A website. So going to be installed. A website is going to be installed into one server. From there, everyone going to be access in their local machine through browser. Okay, but means here the desktop and website concept, the difference is a desktop need to be installed into every device physically, locally, whereas web application is going to be installed into or deploy into one server. From there, everyone worldwide people can access. Whereas mobile application also going to be installed into one mobile device. One mobile here we had. In that mobile device, every mobile application going to be installed. Mobile. Then from mobile application, data is getting from web only. Like Facebook app you install, from where you are going to get from here. So the difference we should understand, desktop, web, mobile. Then only we can understand what I said here, what is known as this release process. So after development of code, we are going to release, right? So now we are coming to the point majorly about web application. If there is web application developed by some developers, there is a web application developed by some developers. Assume like this is web app. Web app developed by some developers, where we are going to release into one server. As a DevOps, your goal is to deploy and release. In simple way, I'm saying is Not in simple, but initially I'm saying in simple way. Next, this release process, what steps involves, every step by step we are going to learn. But first, I'm talking about what is your roles and responsibility in your project, application development release. After development, the release. Where to release? If you go with web application, I have one server. Means this server also we should create. Where to create this server? We have two options: the server or infrastructure. This is known as server to run your application. This server, nothing but we can call it as infrastructure. This infra, where we should maintain, generally we can maintain this infrastructure in two ways. Where what is the two ways? See, infrastructure means what it is. To run your application, we need one platform. To run our application, we need one platform, right? That is known as infrastructure. Simple. So infrastructure means I'm showing here, right? We are going to release our application to some platform. If it is a web application, we need one server to be launch our application or deploy our application. Where that server we can maintain? We can maintain in two ways. One is that local organization. In your local organization, there is a private data centers. In the data center, you can maintain servers for our application to be run. This is one option we have. Whereas another option is cloud environment. We are going to learn everything with cloud only, but what is other option other than cloud we had previously means local organization data centers. Whereas the difference also we'll see later when we enter to the cloud. But here the point comes, that's what I'm showing here. Infrastructure setup for an web application to be released. What we need, some set of servers, some servers, load balancers, databases. This is raw. We are going to learn in cloud only, but what is other option? Local organization. So infrastructure setup for an web application to be released, we had two options. One is local organization and cloud. So here, local organization means your organization should purchase servers, should purchase licenses, should maintain some network engineers, okay, to run your servers. These are all setup you should do, which is more expensive. Previously, all the companies, now also some companies are maintaining their own data centers. But maximum companies are maintaining their workloads not in their local organization. Workloads means application running process, or we can say the workloads means application to be run. We need some servers, right? That application to be deployed and run is known as workload. Simple. So that workload needs some servers, but these servers, if you want to maintain local, is more expensive. So instead of that, nowadays, most of the companies are running their infrastructure in the cloud only. That can be Azure cloud. Some companies are using AWS, some companies are using GCP, some other clouds also they are going to use. But major in the market, we have public cloud like Azure, AWS, GCP. So now here we are targeting Azure. If you learn one cloud easily, it is to learn other cloud. But what is the use of cloud? We are going to use the cloud for the infrastructure creation to run your application. Nothing but the title you can see here, infrastructure setup for an application to be released. We need some infra in two ways, but we are going to see, or most of the companies are showing or interest on the cloud only. One best example I will tell you, Book My Show we had, right? Book My Show website. It is a movie, a ticketing website. That complete Book My Show also running in the cloud. The infrastructure, the application to be run, we need some infra with some servers, right? Where they are going to maintain in the cloud only. Like Netflix also, the big organization Netflix or Book My Show, they are not maintaining their own data center. Mostly they are using cloud technologies only to run their applications. These are some best examples I will tell you how the companies are using cloud. What is the advantage of using cloud instead of your local private data centers? Also, we'll discuss later, but not now. But here, what is the use of cloud for a DevOps engineer? What is the use? Infrastructure setup. Understood, right? Simple. So now you understood. In the release process, to release your application, first we need some infra. Okay, to run your application, we need infra, right? First, you should create infrastructure. That infra we are going to use on cloud, that is, already Azure cloud we are going to use. But here I'm saying about cloud. Cloud means Azure in our case. In this Azure, we are going to create our servers, and this application, web application, we are going to release. To do this, this process, see, complete thing, this complete setup, we are going to take care. Not in development. See here, this is development part. This is, we can say, like releasing and operating your server, everything we can call it as operations part. This complete release and operations, creating of server in the cloud, everything we are going to take care as a DevOps engineer and cloud engineer. So in this process, this complete process, we can call it as SDLC, software development lifecycle. Means a software to be developed and released till to the end user. So this application, what is running in the server, from there only we are accessing every application, like a Book My Show, Facebook, Instagram, everything we are accessing from the servers only. Means finally end users are going to access your application. Means if you observe, SDLC means software development lifecycle, means an application to be developed and released to the some servers known as infrastructure till it access to the end users. This part in this SDLC model, we are not involving the development, we are involving in the after development, the code is ready, right? That code to be released and to be accessed by this complete thing we are going to take care. In this setup, in this process, different DevOps tools we are going to use. Different DevOps tools. That also we'll discuss later. But where you are going to work, what is your work? Release process, which involves different tools like Git. Okay, general tools I'm telling here: Git, Terraform, Ansible, Azure DevOps. What is Azure DevOps? I'll tell you. Instead of that, Azure DevOps, we had Jenkins also. The difference also I'll tell. Okay, like one operating system like Linux we are going to use, and some monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and some Dockerization tools like Docker, Kubernetes. These are all complete things going to be going to be used in this release and maintenance process. These are all tools you're going to learn here as a Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud Engineer. Means where you are working means in the application development and release. This is the first thing you should understand this. Getting right? Anyone, any doubts in middle? If you have any doubts, please ask me, no issue. I will clear your doubts. Yes, are you following right?
Yes.
Till here, is there any question? Please ask me if you have. Okay. If you have no doubts till here, we can continue now. So by learning these DevOps tools, you will become a DevOps engineer. That can be Azure DevOps engineer or normal, any DevOps. Means Azure DevOps or both are same. The difference also will show you. But this is your work, guys. These are the roles and responsibilities. After the code is ready, after the code, the developers develop their code. Okay. But if they develop the code is there in their developer machine zone. But to be accessed by the end user, if majorly I'm talking about web application, if this code want to be accessed by the end user, where it should run in some servers. If not runs in the servers, end user can't access the code from developer machine. Then your application is not accessible by the worldwide people. That's why after development, the most important thing is release process. In this release process, we have different steps also, that also will tell you now. So the code, after the code is ready, okay, the release process is going to be done by using some automation tools known as DevOps tools, I'm saying. So in this process, the tools what I'm showing, where it is going to be used, what is the use of each tool, everything I will tell you now. Okay. By showing with one picture, I'll tell you the release process. See, the process, see, simple. First, I'm saying SDLC implementation using DevOps culture, DevOps workflow in an application development release. This is a general image, guys. First of all, in the image already I said some developers are there. What is where you are going to work, guys? In which project? Application project. In which environment? In the release environment you are going to, not in development environment. Okay, development will be done by developers. In the complete software development lifecycle, SDLC, software development means complete application starting from development till it accessed by the end user. This complete process or steps, we can call it as software development lifecycle. First thing, in this software development lifecycle, DevOps culture we are going to implement by using some automation tools. Why? To release the application fastly and securely. That is your goal. It's finally, by saying all these things, I can say that what is the goal of a DevOps engineer? The goal of DevOps engineer is to release the application fastly and securely with 99.999% efficiency. That is the goal of DevOps guy. How? By using some automation tools. So finally, where you are going to work, guys? In the SDLC model. So that's why this SDLC model contains some steps also, right? That also will show you now. See, what is SDLC software development lifecycle? First of all, an application to be developed, some requirements should be there. That is known as requirement phase. After that, some design is there. From the design, coding will be done by developers, what I showed. After implementation of coding, or the code is ready, it is going to be test also. Till here, what happens means till here, some developers and testers will work. But after that, from there onwards, we are going to comes to picture as a DevOps guy, like after development and testing, deployment or release. After deployment, the code is deployed to the servers, right? What I showed. That also going to be maintained or monitoring. We can see maintenance or monitor. Why we should monitor? What we should monitor? See, the code is deployed. Okay, fine. Code is running, but the infrastructure is running fine or not? The CPU utilization, RAM utilization, all these are using, or any any damage to the servers, or any processing, like CPU utilization is more. If the CPU utilization is more from the application, what happened? The server will be down. If the server is down, what happened? The application cannot be accessed by the end user. That is known as downtime. Your application after deployment, it should run with zero downtime. It should be run with zero downtime. Yes. Zero downtime means at 24/7, 365 days, it should be run without any downtime. That is the goal. That is also one of the goal for DevOps guys, to run your application with zero downtime, with higher availability, we can say. That also we are going to take care, known as maintenance or monitoring. By monitoring your servers working fine or not every time, we are going to take care the infrastructure after deployment also. That also we are going to take it. This all comes under maintenance or monitoring deployment. These are all steps known as SDLC steps going to be used in our DevOps culture. So we can say that SDLC implementation using DevOps culture or DevOps workflow in an application development and release process. In this process, the complete end-to-end, this is one project, guys. If I explain about this, this is one project we can say. How? See, developers will develop the code first. In any technology, the technology can be anything like Java, .NET, PHP, Python. That's what you should have some awareness on what type of application it is we are going to release. Okay, we are going to release some code, but what code, in which technology developed? Is it Java? Is it .NET, Python, PHP? That we should aware compulsory. That's why we discussed about some application concept also. You should aware of some application. What kind of application? If it is Java application, okay, Java application is there. Fine. The code is there. Fine. Okay. After code, the code after developers develop, where they should keep in one Git tool. See, wait. First, you should understand this. Git. Git is the tool. We can call it as source code management tool. Source code management tool or version control system also we can call. Why? I'll tell you. Version control system. So you are going to learn about Git, like that Git tool usage is to store your code. Developers develop their code in their developer machine, but finally all the developers, they are going to push their code, or they are going to place their code to centralized location known as Git. We are going to maintain centralized location for the developers code known as Git. Git is a source code management finally. So this Git, after the code is pushed to the Git tool or Git server, we can say, we are going to picture, we are coming to picture from there onwards. From here onwards, we are coming to picture. The code is ready, code is deployed to Git. From this, the code we are going to fetch, we are going to take or fetch, we can call, by using one Jenkins, like Jenkins tool. Jenkins is one CI/CD tool. In Azure DevOps also, I'll tell you what is Jenkins, how to, but here in general DevOps, I'm talking first, in general. Then after we can enter to our Azure DevOps. Then the comparison you can understand. What is Jenkins? Jenkins is also one tool. What is this tool? CI/CD tool. What is this? Jenkins contains some jobs. What the Jenkins tool will do, will fetch the code and it will build that code. What is that build and fetch? To make you understand this, next, Jenkins, I'm saying here, Jenkins is what type of tool? CI/CD tool, we can say. CI means continuous integration, continuous deployment. What it means, I'll tell you. First of all, the source code is ready, right? In the source code is ready. Source code means as a human, as a developers, we can understand. But who should execute this code? System should execute. System to be execute your code, it cannot understand the source code which is in English language, alphabets, the operators, all this. That's why after this general, if you know about C language, all this thing, you know, right? After the code is ready, it is going to be compiled, or we can call build. Compiled or build. Compiled or build means the source code what we had, is going to be convert to machine understandable code. That is known as machine code, we can say, .exe, executable code. The source code is ready. It is going to be tech and it is going to build at which will generate machine code. This machine code will be run or execute in the system. Who will run or execute this? By the system, by the computer, because it is executable code. This process is not a build process technically, nothing but compilation process. So after the code is ready in the Git, this code to be deployed, what I said, the code is ready. It should run in the server, like web server. I'll tell you what is web server later. This server need this code to be deployed, right? So to deploy, before deploying, it should build. Automatically it should build, not manually. Here in the statement I'm saying it should build. Manually we can build, okay. But in our pipeline, CI/CD pipeline we can call. What is that? Taking the code from Git, it is going to be built and it is going to be deployed. This is known as CI/CD process. Continuous integration means taking the code, building the code. How to build? By using some build tools. That's what I said. If the code is in Java, some build tools we had like Maven or Gradle. If the code is in .NET, MS Build. That we'll discuss later. But first, Jenkins is a CI/CD tool which is used to create some pipelines, CI/CD pipelines. That CI/CD pipelines will take the code, will build and will deploy. For example, if the code is in Java, by using Maven or Gradle build tool, it is going to be built. What is the output? Executable code, var or jar files will generate. This we should deploy to the server. If the code is in .NET, to build that one build tool, we require MS Build. It is going to be generate some separate output like exe, DLL. It is going to be deployed. This entire HDLC model requires CI/CD process compulsory. This CI/CD process we can do with, in general, with Jenkins, open source tool. But in Azure DevOps also same process we are going to do. That later we'll discuss in next session. But before going to that, first in general DevOps we should understand. Means what is DevOps I'm talking about. In Azure DevOps also same process, but then the tools are different. Okay, first thing. So here Jenkins will take the code, will build, will deploy. But first of all, this server should be ready in the Azure cloud. The cloud, you should know how to create everything also. We are going to learn in the infrastructure setup process. And also these servers to be generate or to be create, to be provision, servers to be provision, we can do manually or we can do with one tool known as Terraform. Terraform is a next tool what you are going to talk in our session. Terraform we can call it as IAC tool, infrastructure as a code tool. Infrastructure as a code tool. This tool used to create our infrastructure automatically by using some scripts. Okay, means in the infrastructure in the Azure cloud, to create our servers, one server I can create, 2 servers I can, but I need 100 servers, for example. If you want to do manually, what happened? Time taken. But what is the goal of DevOps engineer? We need to do the work fastly, automatically. So for that reason, we need one tool in this step also, infrastructure creation step, that we can do with open source tool known as Terraform. One of the tool, infrastructure as a code tool. Some other tools also there, we'll discuss later. So Terraform is the tool used to create your infra automatically in this scenario. Web server, okay? Like different servers. For that, we need Terraform. That is on infrastructure as a code tool. Like this, we are going to see about Docker containerization. This Docker Kubernetes we'll discuss later. In general also, here it is not possible. That's why just simply I'm saying containerization tool. It is one of the containerization tool. Next, Kubernetes. You're going to see it is a orchestration, container orchestration tool. Like Azure Cloud, we are going to use for infrastructure setup for your application to be run or execute or to be accessed by the end user. That is known as infrastructure. For infrastructure setup, Azure Cloud we are going to use. And also, we are going to learn Ansible and monitoring tool, Prometheus and Grafana. It is configuration management tool. What is that? I'll tell you. Configuration. Configuration management tool. It is monitoring, logging and monitoring tool. Okay. What is this configuration management tool? Configuration management tool. Please mute yourself, guys.
मुझे 1000 चिल्लर बना सामान है परसों का एग्जैक्ट बना है
अच्छा है क्षेत्र में है
हां
Hey,
मैं
guys.
पैसे है
कब तक है क्या
वो नहीं
Hey, mute yourself, guys, please.
उन्होंने पल्ला था नहीं इधर काम कर ले को फिर बाद नौकरी जाना बोलता है हां
काम कर रहा हूं
माधापुर
सोना दे तू दिलाता है
मैं क्या दिलाया
Okay. See, Ansible means my servers are ready, but in the server I need to install any other softwares. Like in one server we can install one web server. Like in one server we can install any software like web server, software like Apache, Tomcat, Node.js. What it is? Different web servers we had like IaaS, infrastructure as a service. We can do in one server 10 servers manually. Any software to be installed in your infrastructure in hundreds of servers, in multiple servers at a time, we are going to use one automation tool known as configuration management tool, that is Ansible, general current usage tool. And also on that servers, already I said the servers are running fine or not, any CPU outage, memory outage, any breaks. These are all we are going to monitor by using one monitoring and logging tool, Prometheus Grafana. These are all tools you are going to use in our DevOps culture to run your application until from development to the release. We are going to use it. This is the general DevOps guys. Every project will be like this only, majorly. And also one more most important thing here, one operating system we are going to learn here. That is Linux. Why? Because already you know Windows operating is how to use. But here, one operating system you're going to work on, one operating you're going to work in our DevOps to run or to work with the DevOps culture or DevOps tools. Generally, in some tools you are going to use on Windows only. Majorly in production environment, all the systems, all the servers will run on Linux operating system. Why? Because it is more secure when compared to Windows. More secure. That's why majorly Linux operating you are going to interact any mission like here. I'm showing here, right? In this a Git to be installed in real-time setup. One system we need Git server. For that Linux, Jenkins server, Linux, web server, Linux. What are the servers you are going to maintain for the DevOps or your application to be run need one secure operating system, that is Linux operating. That's why first initially to start work on the DevOps tools or to learn about DevOps tools, first we need to learn one operating system, that is Linux. Basic Linux enough, not a complete administration we need for DevOps. If you know, it's better, but not required to learn complete Linux, but the complete maximum basic Linux you're going to learn. These are all things. By using all these things, as a DevOps guy, you are going to implement DevOps culture in the application development and release process. This is your project. Simply, I'm showing in the diagram on project. Simple, you can say. But step by step, first, how to work with this, how you're going to learn means, first you're going to learn, we are going to start with Linux. Why? Because if you want to work with any server, Linux need, right? That's why Linux. Then after Git, like step by step tools we are going to learn to achieve or to work with this type of project. This is your job, guys. These are the roles and responsibilities. So, but this is a general DevOps I'm talking. In Azure DevOps, I said, right? Azure DevOps, you're going, your thing is Azure DevOps. What is DevOps? I said till now. Same thing applicable to Azure DevOps also. But the tools, what I said in the DevOps CI/CD tools differ here. But concept is same. That I will show you. And also I said, right, what is DevOps first? And what is the use of cloud technology for DevOps? I said, cloud technology will be used for, already we know, infrastructure provisioning to deploy the application which will run access by the end user. That is the use. So first, in general, what I said, what is DevOps? What is the use of cloud? So the use of the DevOps use is to release the application fastly and securely with 99.99% efficiency. One thing. Next thing, what is the use of cloud for infrastructure? So the combination we are going to learn as a Azure DevOps with Azure Cloud. So Azure Cloud, you know now, Azure Cloud means for infrastructure. But Azure DevOps, in this place, you're going to use Azure DevOps. For what process? Release process. CI/CD process, here I'm showing with general DevOps tools, but we are going to learn with Azure DevOps. But the process is same, the tools will differ. How? See now. I'll show you that one also. Yeah. See, DevOps open source tools we talked till now. Git, Jenkins, all these things. But in Azure DevOps, like Git, see, wait. Azure DevOps contains some services, guys. These are all open source DevOps tools. These are all open source DevOps tools. Same process we are going to see in our Azure DevOps. Before going to Azure DevOps, first this process we should understand. That's why I talked about all these things. So same steps, same process we are going to implement with Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps most popular DevOps services we had in the market till now, in future also. Most DevOps practices is going to be happen on Azure DevOps only. Like Azure DevOps contains some tools like Azure Repos, Azure Boards, Azure Pipelines, Azure Test Plans. We'll discuss this one by one in our subject. Okay, just I'm displaying here Azure artifacts, all this. So Azure DevOps, now we comes to the point what we are going to discuss. So Azure DevOps also same we are going to use to release our application fastly and securely. But instead of these open source tools, now we are going to use Azure. Azure Repos is just like, if you want to compare, like it is Git. Azure boards means this we not discuss, but I am displaying here. This we'll discuss later, known as Jira. Jira software. Like if you know about this, just time being, just you can understand what is Jira means. It is a ticketing system. We'll discuss later. Azure pipelines, I said, right? Azure pipelines will compare with Jenkins. So in general DevOps, Jenkins we are going to use, but whereas in Azure DevOps, for this process, what process? CI/CD process, continuous integration, continuous deployment. In general, Jenkins is open source tool. Whereas in Azure DevOps, what we are going to use, which service? Azure pipelines we are going to use, like Jenkins. Azure test plans, it is like some testing softwares. It is with testing, we're not going to see this now, later. Azure artifacts also, we are not going to do this. This is just like Nexus, some artifacts. Means I'll tell you what is artifacts. This will compare with the Nexus. Majorly, you can see this Azure Repos and Azure pipelines here when you compare with general DevOps. Like this, what I'm showing you. Git is like Azure Repos. Jenkins, Azure pipelines. Okay. In AWS also, you can come. That's not required for us now. Like this. Kubernetes, Docker, I said, right? In general, I showed here. Kubernetes, Docker. That in our Azure, we can call it AKS. Azure boards is compared with Jira. Like this. Just comparison. So before going to our Azure DevOps, first you should understand about general DevOps. That's why I said all these things. Then now it is easy for you. In Azure DevOps, what we are going to see? Same thing. In Azure DevOps also, we are going to release the application. But Azure DevOps is one of the process we are going to see. In general DevOps also one of the process. But concept is same. Try to understand this first. That's why first you should understand about what is the general DevOps, how it will compare with Azure DevOps. Then some clarity we had here in our DevOps environment. First thing. Okay. Next. So this is like Azure DevOps is for what purpose? For CI/CD process purpose. Azure DevOps we are going to use. Azure DevOps nothing but DevOps only. It is also a culture implemented in the application development and release process. Azure DevOps is a culture which is used to implement the application development release process. DevOps is also culture. Both are same. Both are same concept, but they differ in their names first. Okay. Next. Now finally, this Azure cloud we should understand. Means cloud or Azure cloud. So what is the purpose of cloud for a DevOps guy? I said to release your application, first cloud is required for to release our application. First platform is required for us. Some servers required to be run. That servers, everything we are going to maintain where? In the cloud. What is our cloud? Azure cloud. That's why to work with this infrastructure setup, what you are going to learn, to work with your infrastructure setup, what you are going to learn in Azure cloud means majorly 4 steps. Azure cloud. Azure cloud, we are going to learn by dividing into 4 categories. Compute section, networking section, storage section. It's compute services. Compute service means one by we'll see later. Networking services, what we had here. Storage services, what we had. And databases, database services. Majorly, any cloud, if you go with AWS or GCP or Azure, Majorly, as a DevOps engineer, for our infrastructure setup, we are going to maintain our cloud by learning four categories of services: compute services, networking services, storage services, database services. Okay, these are all four categories. What it contains, what services, we'll discuss later. Yeah, security also includes in compute services or networking services, or separately you can categorize that. Everything, security also comes here only. That is, security means Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory and security service we had in Azure Cloud, which includes here itself. Okay, otherwise, if you want, you can make it separate. So, means outline I'm showing you. Azure Cloud, what compute service contains, everything, we'll list out tomorrow. What Azure DevOps. By combining all these things, you are going to do these types of projects only. What is that? Application development and release process. We are going to implement DevOps culture. How? With Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud. That's it. Finally, I can say in this type of projects, you can implement general DevOps, you can implement AWS DevOps, we can implement Azure DevOps. So now our course is Azure DevOps, implementation of DevOps culture. So finally, I can say that what is this Azure DevOps with Azure Cloud subject means implementation of DevOps culture in the application development and release process with the help of Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud. So see, what is this? Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud. What is the purpose? The purpose is, this is for implementation of DevOps culture, implementation of DevOps culture in the application development and release process. Implementation of DevOps culture in the application and release process with the help of Azure DevOps services and Azure Cloud. This is the agenda, or this is the course you are going to see, guys. Understood, right? Azure DevOps, Azure Cloud. Why we are going to use this? We are going to use this Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud for the implementation of DevOps culture in the application development and release process. Nothing but this step. This application release process, here I showed here open source tools, right? In which we are going to use in this part Azure DevOps and Azure Cloud. This is your subject, guys, till here. Okay, that's it from my side in today's session. The complete picture about what is DevOps, what is cloud, and what is Azure DevOps, what is Azure Cloud. I explained here to make you understand the complete idea about a DevOps and cloud concepts. What is the use? If you learn this, what type of projects or what is your roles and responsibilities you are going to see in your organizations I showed here. In next session, we'll see in detail with some of the concepts. Means, see guys, if you want to learn this DevOps and cloud, some n number of basic things we should learn. Directly, we are not going to enter to a subject. Okay, keep in mind that. First of all, I will make you to enter step by step by learning small things with basic things, everything day by day. After learning all these basic things, then we can enter to your subject. Then only you can understand. That is my agenda. Okay, clear? That's it today. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can leave. We can continue tomorrow at same time. Any doubts? Please, guys. If you have any questions, please ask me. No issue. Is it fine, everyone? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Anyone? Is it clear, right? If you have no doubts, we can wind up. Okay, thank you guys, everyone. If you have no doubts, we can leave. We can continue tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you.